Hi, welcome back to Jonesy Chats Wrestling. We're back today discussing last night's AEW Revolution PPV. I'm joined by special guest, privileged to have you on the channel again, Steve. Steve, you're back today. Stayed up last night live and watched the PPV. Crazy man.
Regrettingly, stayed up again.
How are you today? It's good to have you back on the channel.
Still tired. I'm waiting to go to bed, but it's all good.
Yeah, man. What time did it finish here for you?
4:45, I think, in the morning.
Ouch.
About 4:45, I think it was eventually.
Definitely.
That is me expecting like a normal 3-hour sort of pay-per-view, and it's like 4.5 hours later or something later, and I'm like, oh god, why did I do this to myself?
No, mate, fair play. That sounds like UFC, but no, we've got an explosion of a show to cover. No pun intended. Let's get into it. So we're going to cover the AEW show, go through the new signings, the general gist, go into a bit of detail, get your thoughts, get my thoughts. Let's do it. So let's start at the beginning then. So the show starts off with the buy-in. The buy-in, generally very good. It was all right. This leads to just really trying to hype up some last-minute buys for the pay-per-view. There is one match, which is a tag match. Dr. Britt Baker and Maki Itoh versus Thunder Rosa and Rio. This match for me, I thought it was really, really good. You've got a lot of good workers in there. I think Maki Itoh is a very good worker. Britt Baker, probably one of the best women's wrestlers in AEW. So it's a shame she's on the pre-show. Thunder Rosa, quality worker again. Rio, former sort of AEW women's champion. And I think this was a really, really good match. I think it sort of went, there was a lot of kind of near falls. Obviously, Britt Baker and Maki Itoh got the win. What were your kind of thoughts on the match?
You can tell the difference when you've got these Japanese superstars in there, because if you compare them to WWE, like, I know not everyone's perfect, but the fluency of these Japanese wrestlers is amazing. Like, it's really my only downside, which is it's not really a dead thing on them, but it's the ring, because it's a 20 by 20 ring, and obviously the ropes are at a certain height for men. I felt that if you had them women in a 16 by 16 or an 18 by 18 with lower ropes that was designed for women of under 6 foot, I think they'd be even better. But yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought it was an all right match.
Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was a very good sort of opening match. I think I'd love to have seen it on the main card, but I think everybody in this match came over with credibility. Definitely want to see more of Maki Itoh, so I'm guessing hopefully she'll be signed. Her playing as a heel was a bit unusual. She's kind of known as a babyface, so that was kind of unusual. But were you happy with Britt Baker and Maki Itoh getting the win here?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there were so many middle fingers in this kickoff show, and bearing in mind it's sort of like it's a pre-show, and I was like, everyone's throwing middle fingers up every 5 seconds, but yeah, she did really good heel work. I don't know who she is like until I've just seen her on the pay-per-view, but yeah, ring stuff's really good. Her character works good. Bit confused by why she come out singing, but I suppose that's the character. But again, I didn't know nothing about her until I've just seen her.
I know that about Maki Itoh, she was like a massive fan favorite for the AEW Women's Championship tournament from the Japanese side. There wasn't a lot of coverage, to be fair, of that. It was only on kind of YouTube, random times. I kind of get that, but I was impressed. I'd like to see definitely more of her from this. And I thought just a really great placement. I think this was a really good match. It felt really kind of big, even though there was nothing really at stake. I think it was great to get all these people sometime on kind of the camera, really. I was glad they had a spot at least.
Yeah, I mean, Thunder Rosa especially, she's been on AEW for ages now, and especially she's is she still the NWA?
No, she lost it to Serena D, but she's
right.
Still
That's
such
it.
a good worker.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, that's what I mean. Then obviously there's rumors of her going to AEW fully, but yeah, it'd be good to see more of her as well.
Definitely. So we're going to go into the kind of pay-per-view. So the pay-per-view starts up, and we've got the AEW World Tag Team Championships, Chris Jericho and MJF versus the Young Bucks. For me, this match, it was a really long match, but it was really, really good. There were so many kind of near falls. There was loads of spots. Like there was one spot where Jericho hit one of the Young Bucks in the back, and you think that basically they're going to get the pinfall, kicks out, and it just was full of near falls. Really, in the end, Jericho gets Meltzer drivered, and the Young Bucks get the win. What was your kind of thoughts on the match?
Very good heel face tag team match. Like, I love tag team wrestling. It's up there for me with cruiserweight wrestling. Like, I can watch tag team wrestling all day, and just great hot tags. Great near falls, great heel work by MJF and Jericho. Just a really good, really good solid match.
I think the thing that's so good about it is there was a lot of, as I said, near falls. You never really knew who was going to win, and it just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
In that respect, it was full of sort of a lot of excitement. I think AEW made some really good moves here. I think Jericho getting pinned was really, really clever. You want to protect MJF, so I was a fan of that. And I just think this was a great opener. I think all the wrestlers involved, I'd definitely like to see more of them again. And I think it was just really, really fun. I think the way they built up the storyline with obviously the Young Bucks part getting attacked, this was a great revenge for Young Bucks. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing kind of where it goes with the inner circle. But I think this was a good opener, and I think the time they had, they did everything, and it kept my interest for the amount of time they had, really, which was good. Have you got anything else you want to
add? No, it was really good. The only thing that was quite irritating to start off with was the JR come out at the start, and he sounded like he just smoked 60 cigarettes, and it was like he sounded rough as anything. I was so distracted sometimes by his grizzled voice. It was really off-putting to start off with, but he seemed to get better as the show got along. So I don't know what that was about.
He was losing his voice kind of going into the end of the buy-in show. I don't really kind of know what happened. Obviously, he did resume it. I kind of did ignore it.
So he wasn't on the buy-in. He only come out for
kind of the end, wasn't it? Wasn't it kind of the hype at the end? Basically, came in and he didn't sound very good then, right at kind of the end.
No, yeah, he was talking just not sort of normally to camera, and he sounded really like he just smoked 60 cigarettes. He was really, really rough. I was quite concerned for him. I was like, surely you could just leave Excalibur to do this with Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. I'll tell you another thing I really liked about this match. I think the presence of Wardlow, he was a great sort of person on the outside. I think he added a lot to the match. I think it was a great addition, really, that made it look like Young Bucks' title was in jeopardy. But no, definitely Young Bucks getting a win there. I thought they'd win, so I was happy to see that. Have you got anything else you want to
add? No, I'd say obviously with the there was a segment later on with a backstage interview with Jericho and MJF, which obviously leads into Wednesday, which looks like MJF's going to possibly try and take over the inner circle, but so they'll find that out Wednesday night.
Yeah, it should be fun. We've got this Casino Tag Team Battle Royal. Obviously, the winners get a shot at the AEW Tag Team Championship. This was obviously a Battle Royal. People coming in every sort of minute and a half. There was a lot of kind of good teams here in this match. Interesting enough, it was just a great mixture of teams, really. I think the highlight for me in the match was definitely Jungle Boy and Phoenix. I think Phoenix is such a good worker, and some of the spots and stuff he did. Were you sort of a fan of all the teams they chose to take part in this match?
Yeah, loads of good teams. Especially I'd never seen Bear Country before. When they come out, they look dominant. They look like a really good team. I want to see more of them in the future. The only thing that concerns me with the tag team division in AEW is that there are a lot of tag teams, and I feel they need a 6-man tag team or a lightweight tag team, or do you know what I mean? Because they've got so many. And bearing in mind, this isn't all the tag teams. You've got to remember there was probably another 5 or 6 teams that weren't even on this match. And that's my only worry for the tag team division. It's just there's one title and everyone's fighting for the same thing.
I think it was very stacked. I think the tag team division, you said, is stacked. Obviously, Bear Country, they seem to make their debut. I've never seen them before. I think it was one of the things. I think Dark Order obviously had a lot of teams, but I just thought it was really, really kind of exciting. And I think the fact that the final 2 they chose was excellent. I think the way that they had Phoenix and Jungle Boy, I think both of them two are really underrated. I think they're both could go on to be sort of really main stars in AEW. I think it was really good in terms of the finish. Phoenix and Jungle Boy obviously stared each other's down. They were trading shots, and then Phoenix basically ended up sort of throwing Phoenix get thrown over by Jungle Boy. So I think Phoenix ended up getting the windfall by taking Jungle Boy out the ring, and they're going to get a future shot. But I just thought this was a really, really good match. I think although it went on again, I just think it did a great job of getting everybody on camera. There was a lot of sort of people coming in, and the fact that people coming in so frequent, I thought it was a good match. Have you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see that there was actually a countdown clock in the background because obviously with WWE, when you get the Rumble, that they they yo-yo the time frame. But with this one, it was minute and a half, and you saw the countdown, and it was good. It would you knew it would keep the match to sort of a 20, 25-minute time frame. Phoenix's suicide dive, geez, he nearly killed the front row.
Yeah,
he sort of
that was crazy.
Nearly wiped out like the first 3 or 4 people in there. It was madness.
That was absolutely crazy the way he did it, and sort of the fact he was able to get up again. I think the elimination of Luchasaurus was really, really well done as well. I think that was really clever, and I just think this was a really good match. And the fact that you're going to get Pac and Fenix facing the Young Bucks down the line, I think that's going to be kind of a really exciting match to see.
That's going to be a mad match. That's a match I want to see because all 4 of them are capable of crazy, crazy stuff. That's going to be amazing.
I think it'll be really, really fun. I'm hoping we see it soon. Hopefully, sort of maybe Wednesday or Dynamite if we're lucky.
I think it's not this Wednesday, following Wednesday.
Oh, that'd be good. It'd be something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. Really, really good match. You got anything else you want to add?
No, I say it was all good for that. So yeah, just my only issue is obviously just how many tag teams they've got on one title.
Yeah, would you have you been a fan? I know you said they've got too many of them bringing in somebody like an Enzo and a Kaz into this tournament as a debut, or do you think it was the teams they had were the right choice really for this spot?
Like I said, the thing is, I think they've got too many at the minute. Don't get me wrong. I think if it's a one-time appearance, like everyone has their feelings about Enzo and Cass, but the point is Enzo's good on a mic.
Yeah,
He
he's
can
really good.
draw. And with Kaz XL, as he's now called, now he's returned back to fitness. The pair of them, I know they recently appeared on a show thanks to Luke Gallows. Kaz seems to be doing a lot better. So hopefully, you never know, maybe in the future, it'd be good to see him on it.
Definitely. We've got this AEW Women's Championship. So Ryo Mizunami facing the champion Shida. Obviously, Ryo Mizunami, she's the winner of the AEW Women's Championship Eliminator Tournament. This match for me, I thought it was okay. There was a lot of comedy spots, a bit like a Gangnam style video where they were just sort of trading blows and not really much happening. There was a lot of kind of near falls, kick out, kick out, kick out. Obviously, at the end, basically Hikaru Shida hit an Enziguri and kind of got the pinfall finally, which I thought it was kind of a weak way to get the finish. I think the right person went over here. I thought the Falcon Arrow was okay in parts, but for me it just didn't really deliver. I think, as you said, the pre-show match we had with the other women, I think any of them would have been far better against Shida here. What's your kind of thoughts?
For a wrestling based match, I think this was the best card on the night for technical. For if you put it down to a wrestling match, which one was the best one? It would have been this one. But yeah, like you said, there's parts where the two of them are just sitting there, they're laughing at each other like psychopaths while throwing punches. But yeah, the outcome of this I think was already pretty much set. I mean, you've got Mizunami who's come in. She's the veteran who was going to retire. You could tell she was just brought in to do a number and make Shida look amazing, which she did, in fairness.
Yeah, she did. I think the thing with it, as you said, is we had that tease of Mizunami hitting a finisher that she got the pinfall over previously on Dynamite last week, and then sort of there's a kick out, but Shida's obviously keeping the belt, which is kind of strong. Interested to see where they kind of go next with this. I'd like to see Shida probably facing. I'd really like to see her facing Britt Baker. For me, I think Britt Baker, they should be the next AEW Women's Champion. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No, you're spot on there. Britt Baker should be up there. She's great on the mic. She's great in the ring. She should be up there.
Definitely. We're going to go into kind of the next match. The next match was Miro, Kip Sapien facing Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. With this match, this was okay. This has been building for a week. Obviously, it's been going on for a while. And this match was really only designed for one purpose. It was to get Miro finally over as Miro. Miro, obviously, since he's come into AEW, following his leaving WWE as Rusev, he's been kind of stuck in this gimmick that's not really doing much for him. But credit to AEW, they did a really good job of making Miro look $1 million in this. Miro got the win. What were your kind of thoughts of the match?
Yeah, I mean, it started. It's exactly like you said. It done what it was supposed to do. It started off strong when, like, even before the match started, you had the backstage. Miro throws Chuck through a window and cuts him all up. That's how he's bleeding.
Yeah.
Orange gets taken out. But yeah, it was just designed to do exactly what you just said, which was get Miro over, and it made him look amazing. Like his finisher at the end when he went for a camel clutch and he just sat on top of him and he just waited that 4 or 5 seconds and then just yanked back on it to emphasize the point. It was really good.
Used to be known as the Accolade in WWE. I think it's really, really kind of good. I think the thing with it is I'm really hoping in Dynamite this week or coming soon, he'll turn on sort of Kip Sabian and just get rid of Kip Sabian, really. I think if Miro can go singles, because everyone thought when Miro signed to AEW that he'd go on and be challenging at the top, really. But the way he's come in and he's been stuck at this sort of continual feud with Chuck and Orange, I think it's something to move forward. But no, credit to AEW. Really well done. Miro with the win, which was the right move, I think, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. We've then got this inner circle war council. This is what you discussed earlier, where they were basically shooting backstage. Alex Marvez is there, and they talk about basically failing to capture the AEW Tag Team Championship. Jericho takes offense to the word failure, and he basically bollocks Marvez. He goes on to announce that AEW Dynamite this Wednesday, there's going to be a special council. He says it's time and necessary. MGF. What that is a clever spot. I think what they're trying to do is just create interest to watch a show on Wednesday. But I was a fan of it. I think it's further follow on, which was good. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No, it's exactly that. Yeah. So I think it puts the idea in your head that you think that with this War Council meeting that MJF is going to try and maybe take over the inner circle and get rid of Jericho, but it's going to make you tune in Wednesday to watch it.
Definitely. We've got this obviously big money match. Hangman Adam Page versus Big Money Matt Hardy. This has obviously been building for weeks. I think this was a really kind of good match. Anything that Adam Page does, I'm a massive fan of it. I think this match had some kind of crazy spots, like when we get sort of Page laying out Hardy on the floor when he jumps off the top rope and does a crazy top rope moonsault to the floor and stuff like that. In the end, obviously, Hangman Adam Page gets the win after the buttshot lariat. And I just thought this was a really good, it was a feel-good match, really. The right person went over. In the end, you get the Dark Order coming out and they're kind of celebrating with him as well. What was your kind of thoughts of the match?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty much standard match. I had two issues with this match. One was the fact that Matt Hardy's trademark moves is the twist of fate and the other one he does. I can never remember the names of these moves. They're not a convicting enough move for me. Every time I see him do them, I'm like, I never see him get a pinfall after doing them moves. My only other issue was that when at the start of the match, you had Matt Hardy working on Hangman's fingers, and you got the commentators banging on about, oh, he won't be able to pull off the buckshot lariat because he's damaged his fingers. I'm not being funny. The buckshot lariat is a clothesline.
Yeah.
What's damaging his fingers going to do to stop him from doing this move?
Yeah, I think they were just kind of just filling time on the commentary. I think that's the thing with it. Is I agree with you. It's a great analysis. I think the thing with it is it's one of them things where this match obviously they kind of thrown together. I'm glad it's done because Adam Page really should be moving up the card. He's kind of wasting his time feuding with Matt Hardy. And I think the thing with it is the end game. I don't know whether that's going to be Adam Page being the leader of the Dark Order or something, but for me, Adam Page getting the win was the right move. This was just, as I said, was just a fun match, but the commentary wasn't really great. I'd agree with you there. Have you got anything else you want to add on this match?
No, well, I say I'm the same as you. I've liked Hangman Page ever since he was in the Bullet Club. I mean, I know he was like one of the sort of non-favorited members of the Bullet Club, but I've liked him since then. And I reckon he could be the next guy to take that title off of Kenny.
I think he could. The thing with Adam Page, he was up there like at the start of AEW, and he's just kind of gone down because of the booking, because he's stuck in doing needless stuff. I think the Dark Order is a waste of time as well for him. I don't think that's going to further put him in the upper echelons of AEW. I think he should go out on his own and be a singles wrestler. But no, definitely, I thought it was a good match besides the commentary. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No, so like I said, I will always back Hangman Page at 100%. So to see him win is just a big win for me.
Definitely. So we obviously had the first of one of two debuts. Next, what we had is obviously massive hype all week over who the mystery person is going to be. I think loads of people said different people. I said a few people. One of the people I did say was this gentleman behind me. He's now All Elite. Obviously, formerly of Impact Wrestling, Ethan Page or Ego is now part of AEW. Obviously, not been seen since Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill back in January. So he kind of came out as the mystery entrance for this face of the ladder match to get a shot at Darby Allin. What was your kind of thoughts of Ethan Page? Did you know of him before, and were you happy that he's kind of there?
I knew of the man, but I don't really watch Impact, especially since this whole lockdown thing. And I find Impact really hard to watch without a crowd or an audio dubbed in because I just find it really uncomfortable to watch. But I know of Ethan Page. Sorry, I just never watched him.
Definitely. So we had this face the ladder match. I think the thing with it, this was a really, really good ladder match. I think you had loads of different elements. You got Lance Archer there for the power. Penta Zoro is crazy. You've also got sort of people such as Cody Rhodes there. He's always kind of respectable. And you've got Scorpio Sky as well. And I thought this was a really kind of good match. There was loads of kind of crazy spots. There was one spot where Cody Rhodes kind of got the Canadian Destroyer on him, and it just that was
on the ladder that didn't
insane.
break.
Yeah, it was
Madness.
Absolutely insane. That kind of took him out of the match. Loads of teasing it. You had the Sonic. I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog looking at that gold ring. It was almost like the gold ring up there. It was just crazy, man. It's not the money back briefcase, is it? It's just like a Sonic.
Someone literally grabbed a life preserver, painted it brass, and hung it as to portray the brass ring. I'm sorry, that really killed that for me. I thought that was a really bad prop. So what Scorpio Sky got to carry around his life preserver now until he gets his TNT match?
Yeah, well, that's the thing with it. I guess the thing is that you got Max Caster as well. I think he did really kind of well in this spot. And I think this match there was a lot of near falls. I think it was really good. I think obviously we got Scorpio Sky going over, getting the brass ring down. For me, when Scorpio Sky won, it was okay, but I'm really surprised they did this big hype job for Ethan Page. Surely he's your new person. You brought him in now after Tony Khan's been hyping him for a while. I would have thought, what's the point of him debuting here and not getting the win? It didn't really work for me. What were your kind of thoughts?
I personally thought they would have gone with Lance Archer because he's been dominating for weeks now. He's been on such an uphill. Like he's obviously turned babyface, and I suppose Darby's a babyface with the TNT titles. You can't really have, and Scorpio's apparently turning heel. But yeah. I thought Lance was the more dominating one.
I think the trouble with it, if you give it to Lance, they don't want to pin Lance at the moment, which is why they probably maybe gave it to Scorpio. But I thought this was a really fun match. I really kind of enjoyed it. The bumps were crazy. I love the Jake the Snake Roberts coming in the ring and getting involved. That was kind of a really nice. That was kind of retro nostalgic to see that. I thought that was really, really good. But no, I thought it was really good. I thought all the wrestlers came out with credit, and I just think it was really, really good. I think they did a great job of getting Cody out the match because I don't really like Cody being beat. Cody leaving and coming back was clever. But I
found that quite distracting because obviously as you're watching it, you can just see him in the background in one corner. And I found it quite distracting because it was sort of taking my distraction away from what was going on in the ring half the time, because all I can see is Cody in the background stretching out his arm. And I'm like, just take him at the back and let him come back and do what he normally does. Why have him in the background for 10 minutes?
Yeah, I think it was a distraction. Maybe should have been outside. I agree with that. I think the thing with it is this just was a really good sort of match to get everybody on camera again. I thought that was really, really good. What I would say as well is obviously Scorpio Sky is now going to get this shot at the TNT champion at Darby Allin on this coming Wednesday's Dynamite, which will be, I think, it'll be a good match. You got anything else you want to add?
I love Penta. Penta's amazing.
He's so good.
He's such a crazy guy. There was only one problem I had. It was Cody. Cody was coming. Remember when he had the ladder set up in the corner and he was coming off the top? He was going to do a move to, I think it was Scorpio laying on the mat. And I couldn't understand why Lance Archer has rushed in the ring to get up the ladder to stop him from doing it. And I'm like, he's not going for the ring, so I don't understand why you stop. Let him inflict more damage on himself before you jump it. Apart from that, it was a normal solid ladder match. To say that Canadian Destroyer on the ladder just killed me, though.
That was so good. It was so insane, even though it looked quite protected, but I just thought, what a bump to take, though. I just think it was proper, like, holy shit when you see it, really, definitely.
The fact that the ladder didn't break, that's what made it sort of holding your hands in your head, just madness.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got anything else you want to add?
No, mate, I'm all good with it.
Okay, so obviously for the last week, there's been massive hype of AEW signing a second mystery star. Loads of talk. Everybody was hoping it would be Brock Lesnar, CM Punk. Kurt Angle was a name I kind of threw out there, a few other people. And then AEW, none other than music went. We got an intro video, and none other than this man kind of steps out. Behind me, Christian Cage is now part of AEW. My kind of thoughts on this, there's a couple of thoughts. AEW fucked this up. I'm sorry to swear. They played the video of Christian Cage's old TNA music, and the countdown, that kind of gave the game away for me. I kind of thought this is a guy that didn't really do anything after TNA. He's never been a WWE main eventer. He's always been a mid-carder. He's somebody that kind of, he's an okay addition to AEW, but he's not going to really sort of move ratings, I don't think, to make them any closer to WWE. That's what I think. I think it's a sensible signing, but it wasn't worth the hype that Tiny Khan gave. And I think because he hyped it so much, I think it's one of them things where it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I love Christian. I love Christian to bits. I think he's amazing. I say when he come back in, what was it, 5-6 weeks ago? He was in the Rumble. I popped hard for that. And I was sat there and thought, I'd love to see him back there. So I'm kind of 50-50 on it. It's like, yes, I'm glad to see Christian back in the ring after 6-7 years, like doing an actual full-time or whatever wrestling he's doing. But it should be on WWE because that's where he should be. But yeah, I say, but then he comes out, signs the contract. They don't give him no mic time. He just does a pose and leaves. And I thought, what? You couldn't have given him a minute, 2 minutes just to cut a quick promo? The show went on for 4.5 hours. Yeah, it was ruined for me.
I think the thing with it is, if we look at the analysis of this, I am shocked that AEW were able to get this deal out. What was the point of Christian coming back at the Royal Rumble this year? I just think it just seems crazy to me. The fact that he's able to go to AEW, but it's a good signing in that respect. It's going to add something to the product.
From what I heard this morning, Christian hasn't. They've basically creative at WWE had nothing for him, so he was just sitting there twiddling his thumb. And apparently, Christian reached out to Tony Khan to make this happen. So it wasn't a case of AEW approaching him; it was vice versa. So this is why this has happened.
Yeah, I think the thing with it is it's one of them where, unfortunately, unless it was going to be a Brock Lesnar or a CM Punk, it was never going to live up to expectation, I think, for people. The trouble you're going to have with this is another one that TNA style signing where TNA used to go back to WWE and get all the people WWE didn't want. And I think the thing with it is Christian is a great signing. As I said, the debut, because of the lack of mic time, it just didn't really work for me. I think it's a sensible addition, but they would have been far better not hyping this at all. If he would have just turned up, it would have got a far better reaction rather than him turn up. They played the same original music as I said earlier, which is lazy. You should have new music. I think it's one of the things. When I saw that intro video, I felt like I was back watching TNA. I felt like I'd got younger by 5 or 10 years. You know what I mean? I felt like I'd gone back in time. It's one of the things where
so the lack of mic time was what killed it, because a 2-minute promo. Do you know what I mean? You would have got all the intentions out there, and it would have made this a lot better. Because obviously, it's not going to be. I mean, especially with Kurt. I mean, what was it? The Sunday morning, Kurt Angle dropped that video on Twitter of him in like all his gear, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to be Kurt Angle." And they say, then you've brought out Christian, and you've not done anything. He's walked around the ring, signed a bit of paper, and gone back on his way.
I think he's better than Kurt Angle. I think in that respect, I'll give them that. He's a better signing than Kurt Angle. He is a very good signing, but it's just nothing. Sorry, after you.
I think that's to say. I think that's purely for his age, because Kurt Angle's like in his mid-50s now.
Yeah,
and I think in the ring, I'd say Kurt couldn't go anymore. I don't feel. Well, I think he could go, but I don't think he'd go as well as what Christian could go.
I think the thing with it's one of them where they had to get somebody in, but as I said, next time AEW don't hype it. I think it's one of the things. If you paid $60 for this pay-per-view on the hope you're getting CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, then you're going to be pretty disappointed. I think, although I think this is a distraction. The problem is half of this hype going into the pay-per-view was added that extra tier by us hoping we'd get a CM Punk or Brock Lesnar, even though realistically Brock was never going to come because of the money. I think with CM Punk, it's one of the things. I think if you are going to go out and get a CM Punk, you need to save it to when you're head to head with Monday Night Raw, SmackDown. You need to save it at that type of level, because for me, Christian coming in, he's not been relevant for ages, unfortunately.
Yeah, that or when you've got a crowd, because the CM Punk return needs a crowd. You couldn't have had him. Yeah. You couldn't have had him come in tonight, because that return to wrestling needs a crowd, because you need that pop. That would be off the chart.
Definitely. Have you got anything else you want to add before we go to the next part?
No, straight on to the next one.
Okay, so go to the next part then. So the next part of this one. So he's obviously come out and signed his contract. We've got the street fight, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks versus Sting and Darby Allin. This was really, really kind of fun. It was set out a bit like Lucha Underground, some random warehouse. There was loads of kind of cool moments. It reminded me last year of the Boneyard match with Undertaker. It was very similar to that in that sense. You've got basically Sting and Darby Allin. They're there getting kind of beaten down. They're outnumbered. All of a sudden, sort of Sting makes a comeback. And in the end, we get Sting getting kind of the pinfall, which is the right feel-good factor. Ricky Starks is getting pinned, which is the right move. I really kind of enjoyed it. The coffin drop by Darby Allin during the match was absolutely insane. This guy's like Mick Foley, Mankind. He's up there now. What will it be next with him? What were your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, even let's say the elbow drop through the window at the end to take out Brian Cage, who was lying on top. It's like it was a foreshadowing. You could just see him coming off of that. But yeah, really good match. It made me sort of hesitate to start with, because obviously when Cage powerbombed Sting a couple of weeks back, it made me sit there and think, right, well, did Sting take that powerbomb and realize that maybe he can't do a normal match, and this is why they've gone with this street fight and done a pre-recorded sort of edited video. Don't get me wrong, edited brilliantly. One of the best cinematic matches of all the matches that have come in the last 12 months. But that was anything. So that was anything that worried me to start off with. But no, very well done, very well executed. It was a great match.
I think they did a good job of protecting Sting here as well, because this Sting, obviously, there's real concern going in. Although he's taking a power bomb, this guy can't really do anything. He can't do anything. But to the contrary, it was a really, really good match. I think it told the right story. I think it was gritty, which is what you need. And the fact it's cinematic, it really kind of worked. I think my only small criticism really was we had loads of Stings at the beginning. They just what was the purpose of them? They didn't do anything in the match, which kind of was a bit silly. But I'm up for the hero comeback here. Like obviously at one point it looked like they were going to get totally destroyed. Darby Allin's got put through like a window. Stings they're getting kind of annihilated. The comeback was really, really good. But for me, this was really, really good. This is what kind of boosted my mood after Christian. Really, what was
with this one? There was subtle details in it. Like there was a point where I think it was Starks had was it? I think he had Sting or Darby against the filing cabinet, and one of them just grabs the drawer and swings it open and smashes him straight in the knee. And it was like it was little details like that that made this so much better. I say really, really good. One slight comment on commentary that sort of weirded me out, where you've got Shivani going, Sting's not missed a beat. Bit hard to say that really when it's a pre-recorded match, Shivani.
Yeah, no, definitely. I get it. It didn't even say live in the corner, did it? No.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you knew it was pre-recorded. So for him to go, he's not missed a beat. Well, it's edited to make it look that way. You can't. It's a bit of a naff comment, really.
It's commentary over in it, really. But what I would say, this was the perfect pitch for a cinematic match. It was cool. It had some fantastic camera angles, which were really, really good. and it had all the kind of crazy stunts. And they didn't even cut the camera angles, didn't cut. It was just, you could full on get like invested in it. When I saw the match and saw the location at the start, I thought this is either going to be great or awful. But AEW blew it out of the park. Credit to all the wrestlers involved. I think this was really, really good. I think the rub that Ricky Starks must have got with working with Sting, I think it's there. Clearly, I think it's going to pay for wrestlers like Ricky Starks to get that rub working with somebody that's such a hero and icon in the business, such as Sting. I think it's clever by AEW.
Yeah, I mean, if you could, like I say, when I started watching it, I was like, if it turned out like a scene from an action film, and they pulled it off amazingly, and then when you got people like Ricky Starks in it, who is going to be one of the biggest stars in the next 5 years, that guy can do everything. And I'd say for him to get that rub in there with Sting, I'm not too keen on Brian Cage of the four of them, but yeah, so it was just a great match.
Yeah, definitely. I was really, as I said, concerned about sort of Sting and Brian Cage. I thought that the contact Brian Cage, he looks like he could kill Sting at any time by dropping him into head. But it was just really, really good. I think it was a great feud ender, and it's exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah, it needs to be a feud ender. This can't carry on anymore. It's been going on for way too long now.
Definitely not. Have you got any information on that before we get to this main event?
No, it's all good.
Okay, let's get to this bomb of the main event. And okay, so we're going to get into this then. So there was a lot of kind of hype with this. This was the exploding barbed wire death match, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega. This has been building kind of for a while. And for me, this match, if we ignore sort of the ending, this match was really, really kind of good. I really kind of enjoyed it. Kenny Omega is such a fantastic worker. Moxley's so good. They did a really good job in the early stages of teasing kind of barbed wire, like trying to avoid the contact. The explosions to the backs and stuff, I thought they looked really, really good. They looked as genuine as they kind of could in that respect. Loads of kind of near falls. In the end, though, what kind of happens is we're getting sort of down the counter clock. We get Gallows and Anderson kind of walking in. Gallows and Anderson sort of help Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega then does a one-winged angel through a chair, which was kind of insane. I think another good spot in this was when there was a one-winged angel, and then he was able to, nobody ever kicks out, but yet because of the explosion, it was able to sort of kick out, which I thought was really good.
He kicked the rope with his foot and caused an explosion, which stopped the count. Yeah, that was brilliant, that was.
What was your kind of thoughts of the match before we get to the finish?
I'll be honest with you, I missed sort of the first 5 minutes because my string cut out. So I missed the whole dancing around trying to avoid the ropes. I caught it sort of just before Kenny took that first hit off the rope. And then, of course, the first explosion. But it was some sort of the pay-per-view sort of yo-yoed for me, but this was sort of a good finish, 99% of it, apart from that last part. But so when Gallows and Anderson come in with that rigged up baseball bat, and as he's cracked Moxley with it and it's exploded, I thought, that's brilliant. That's surely got to be the end of the match for that one. But then no, so he goes for the one-winged angel on the chair and gets the pinfall. It's great.
There was definitely a spot where they're kind of sort of on the inside and they get sort of, one of them falls back and it sort of takes one of them with them and the explosion goes off. The thing is, when you look at it, they landed on the ball with the barbed wire. The explosion next door was nowhere kind of near them. I think that was kind of, I know that you can't blow these people up. It's not real. I understand that, but it's just small things like that, really. I think it was really technical, but for me, I think the barbed wire is a bit of a step too far. I think it takes away from how good these two wrestlers are, really.
The bit that bit you're talking about got me sort of confused because you've got Moxley doing a DDT, what is it, the paradigm shift to Kenny. But Kenny lands on the floor after receiving it, and Moxley's landed in the barbed wire, and it's like, well, you shot yourself in the foot there, mate.
It was kind of hard. So in the end, obviously, we get the Gallows and Anderson come out. They help Kenny Omega get the windfall. So Kenny Omega was always kind of going to retain. That was kind of predictable. It then ends up with them kind of doing a beatdown. We've got loads of time to kill until the supposed explosion. It ends up kind of with them handcuffing Jon Moxley.
Which broke. The handcuffs broke.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, they broke. And then there's such a hype from the commentators. I've got to say, Don Callis on commentary was absolutely fantastic. He really played his character as an egomaniac. I think I really kind of enjoyed that. But there's this hype. You're thinking, oh, no, what's going to happen? We get to kind of the last 30 seconds. Gallows and Anderson and Kenny Omega have kind of left the ring. Don Callis left the ring. They're at the sort of rampway. We get Butcher, Blade, and Eddie Kingston there coming out randomly. Eddie Kingston then sort of runs into the ring. He realizes he can't move Jon Moxley. He then covers him. He then sort of jumps on top of him almost, and then we have this explosion behind me. So let's kind of go into this then. So you've got an explosion worthy of Gillberg here. After all this hype, we know people can't be blown up, but the amount of hype for this explosion, I just think AEW, man, come on, you built this up, and it's just so disappointing. I think this is really the problem with this pay-per-view, despite all the good bits, the debut of Christian and all the other stuff is going to be always known for this behind me, and this really kind of destroyed the pay-per-view for me. I think it was just so bad. Like everybody's talking about how bad this explosion was instead of the quality of the match, really.
What's that famous Vince quote? They only ever remember the finish.
Oh, there you go. That's exactly how it is, isn't it? I think the thing with it, I kind of get it. I get the storytelling. It could have been fantastic. Eddie Kingston saving his friend, but when you've got the explosion kind of going off behind me, it's just tame. It's like going to a Poundland fireworks store for any of our national listeners. Poundland, it's basically like a cheap store where you can get stuff,
shop, $1 shop.
$1. We can get anything basically. You could get like probably a candle. You can get something. You know what I mean? I don't know, a different tangent, but it's one of them things that it almost looked like the pyro they got. They used all the pyro they had, basically probably on other stuff running the show. Really, it's just
you can go to a supermarket and get 4 sparklers for £1 for $1. So there you go, and that's literally looks like what they've just done. It was such a bad ending to such a good pay-per-view.
I think the thing with it is it's one of them things where if you look into the storytelling part of it, I really buy into it. But when we see neither one of the wrestlers, and I get that we can't have them we can't have the fireworks going off next to them. I do get that, but it just didn't do a really good job. This match was designed to get John Moxley off TV for months, so his wife can have a kid, and they didn't do that for me. And I know there's a story going around after that Kenny Omega apparently rigged the fireworks and stuff like that, so they didn't go off, but. It didn't work for this.
It was just a bit confusing as to why Eddie Kingston acted like he'd been shot after the pyro went off, because he turned over and he was laying there, and it's like, what are you trying to achieve, Eddie? I know that the pyro's fucked you over here, but you're acting like you've been shot, and it's kind of a bit unbelievable going on right now.
Steve, I'm going to put this to you. What would you say was worse, this sort of match with that finish, or the Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins and The Fiend and the way that match ended? What would you say was the worst between them? Because I got the same feeling.
Is that the one where they got a DQ finish?
Yeah, where the Fiend basically gets absolutely kind of killed.
Yeah, that's getting a DQ victory in a Hell in a Cell is definitely the worst. Because at least with this match, there was a pinfall. Someone legitimately won a match. But with that one, how could you give a DQ finish in a Hell in a Cell? But the
best thing always is WWE actually tried to book that. They actually booked the Hell in a Cell.
I know, that's the worst part. They booked a DQ finish.
At least with this explosion, maybe they didn't realise it was going to be so bad. But no, I think it is.
Like I said, the pyro botched. Everyone can see the pyro botched. Like I said, it'd be fun to watch BTE this week because they will probably make a rib of it. And they'll do a skit with someone pissing around with the pyro, excuse my French. It's just unfortunate.
I think the thing is, what I've got to say, credit to them in some respects. Obviously, kicking out the one-winged angel by willingly put your foot on a bomb is probably the greatest spot of all time. I think it was definitely great.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I think, as I said, from a match perspective, ignore the finish. The match for me was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I think they're limited by these gimmicks. Obviously, they had the barbed wire lights out match before that was just got sort of binned again. I think AEW shouldn't be doing these matches anymore. I think it was silly sort of agreeing to this gimmick without knowing sort of the complications. But for me, when you look at the old sort of exploding barbed wire board matches with like Terry Funk and Mankind in Japan, this just to me looked like it was almost like a play day. It almost looked like it was, even though the wrestlers got hurt, there was obviously the barbed wire was dangerous, a lot of serious bumps and stuff. But for me, I just was disappointed.
I'm very surprised that no one threw in a bag of thumbtacks either, because that's normally the bag of tricks that comes out. Someone gets a pole driver onto the thumbtacks and cops a knee full of thumbtacks.
I think that's a good analysis. I think the thing with it, so I've got one last kind of thing as well, Steve. So obviously we get Eddie Kingston running out. You've got Butcher and Blade there. Surely they would have run out 10 minutes earlier to get sort of Dean Ambrose out, if that was the case, or John Moxley out. You would have thought that, and they're meant to be heels, so I kind of get it. It's almost like heels are sort of attacking heels, and there's no follow-up. It was just
I think we can take that as an Eddie Kingston face turn.
Yeah, there's Eddie
Kingston. Don't know what it means for Butcher, Blade, and Bunny, but you would have thought that he'd have been out when he was getting jumped by the 3 guys to start off with. Why he decided to come, unless he was in catering and didn't see it, I don't know.
I think what would have been much cooler if they were booking this pay-per-view, depending on what they want to do. Obviously, you've got Kenny Omega now. He's won. This was the spot really to debut Christian. I think if he's going to go after the world title, this is a spot you want to have Christian out there to sort of not stop the melee, but attack Kenny Omega. You know what I mean? You can sort of, if you had Gallows and Anderson distracted, they weren't there in the first place, you could have had Christian attack Kenny Omega, and then that's your next title match. Because for me, it's not clear who your next contender is to the title.
Yeah, I was literally about to ask you who do you think was going to be next, because I can't see being Christian. No way. And I'm trying to sit there and think of baby faces that are in there for a title shot that could with like go the distance with Kenny. And I don't think there's many at the minute that can do it. No.
Unless they go back to Cody again, but Cody's injured, like on and off. It's one of the things, I guess. Let's go to final kind of thoughts on the score then. So if you're going to score the pay-per-view kind of out of 10, what would you score it, and what was your final thoughts?
I'm going to go with a 7. I think it was good in places, it was bad in places. Unfortunately, that the end is what it will be remembered for. But yeah, so it's one of their better pay-per-views. I can't remember one of the previous ones where the Matt Hardy Sammy Guevara match where Matt got a concussion, and it's like it was better than that one. So yeah, I'll say 7 out of 10. I think that's what I rate that.
I think I'll go with an 8. I think it, although there was a lot to talk about after, I think they did what they did. The ladder matches was excellent. I thought the barbed wire match itself was really, really good. It was main event worthy. And I think the street fight for me was probably one of the matches of the year, in my opinion. I really kind of enjoyed it. It really blew my expectations away. There was obviously a lot of bad.
You're right. I'm underrating it because I forget about these things. Like I said, that street fight was, say, one of the best cinematic matches. But then, yeah, like I said, yeah, but then say with the main event, like you said, this the gimmick on the outside with the 2x4, the planks of wood with barbed wire runs. This is why I'm yo-yoing between it. But yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it's one of them things. I guess credit to AEW, they did put out a good pay-per-view. It was a good kind of product, but I think the problem is when you're doing stuff like an underwhelming signing, 2 underwhelming debuts. Like Ethan Page didn't really do anything at all to make me want to see him again, which is a shame. Christian, we all know about it. We discussed him in detail already in the podcast. And that finish just killed it for me, really. But I'd go 8 out of 10 for all the other good they put in. Have you got anything else you want to add before we end the review today?
No, I'm all good, mate.
No problem. Thank you for coming on, Steve. Anyway, it's great to hear your opinion. We're definitely going to have to do this again. But no, this has been Jonesy Chats Wrestling, joined by Steve, discussing AEW Revolution. Please let me know in the comments below your thoughts of the pay-per-view. Let me know what you thought was good and not so good. And yeah, thank you for checking the video. And if you've enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up and please give us a sub. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Bye-bye.